Hey, Matt, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Let me try something else here. All right, Jory can hear me. I can't hear you, Matt. Oh. I heard something, Matt. I heard, I can hear your keyboard.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I hear you
Anything
coming
there?
in and out. A little bit better. A little bit better. You're just a little delayed.
I'm gonna have to kill my internet.
Okay, let's just give it a go and try it real quick. I'll wait. I'll wait for you to start it.
But I'm to do this. All I've got. Shoot, this is getting old. Anything?
It's a little bit, but it's kind of like kind of fish tanky, right? Where I can hear you kind of coming in and out.
The things are fine, but I don't know what's. Let me try the phone.
You could try it.
Check my speaker settings. Oh shoot! That's all I got.
That's about it, huh? So I can hear you. It kind of it delays a little bit when you talk. So if I just shut up maybe and listen to you, I'll see if it picks up a little bit. Why don't we you wanted to talk a little bit about the social pressures increasing housing weakness. Why don't you try starting with that, and I'll let you go. I won't interrupt you, and then we'll see if that works.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I guess the main this week was the talking about housing, and supply, and demand, and all these other things that are lumber, and we just seem to be overlooking that are they're kind of in the media, and sticks out for me is going on with Russia and China. Seems to be a growing alliance. China, since they can't figure out who's going to be the upseat, there appears to be a growing political alliance between the and I, as a lumber industry, we have attention to social things that are be disruptive to our industry and for supply and demand and for demands, because start to get afraid of it's not like the pandemic, for example. No, a pandemic, and then we had overreacting, and it was just back. We're in a political climate where we're seen before, and the U.S. is supposed to of different cultures, but of conflict. Seems to be doing their own little way to get pissed off about it, and we haven't seen much rioting, but a lot of the Roe v. Wade things. It seems to me that America more towards that wants rather than letting the people rule the government or rule themselves, going in the wrong direction. Military that aligns more with just to keep from starting any trouble. I kind of topic for lumber, but I think that with because of the inflation and interest, a lot of pressures on the economy, we're at a tipping point that could really create heat here in America. Could squelch housing. I've been thinking for the previous that all these camps are going to create a pent-up demand, and one guy says, well, he just hopes in that there's housing demand and all the in here, but thinking that we like the pandemic and the don't see because we focused on the lumber market that could derail. There's a feeling in the industry that are under inventory. I believe they're under inventory for a reason. They see the writing on the wall. That's what's in the near future.
Yeah, so basically, like what you sent over today, Matt, what you summed up is, with all the cancellation, delayed building products, the U.S. seems to be pushing Russia and China's buttons. Basically, kind of summing up what you said, and I'll read. I'm kind of going to quote what you put on here. If we think that will not impact the lumber market, we're delusional. And as we talked yesterday with Matt Beamer, there's this feeling that people are running their inventory to the ground, right? And yes and no in some cases. I think people are kind of back. And when I say I agree with what Matt said yesterday, Matt Beamer, not Matt Lehman, and maybe you can have input into this one, Matt. It seems like the multifamily group is back out there doing what they did pre-2019-20. They're just taking orders and holding them short at this point again, right? And we're back into that groove of doing that. Although some of them are keeping some inventories that the ones that didn't normally do it up in the last 2 years. But we're kind of getting back into that groove of business as people aren't going out and building these great big inventories and worrying about not having lumber for the future. When all of this global that then turns into regional or stuff is starting to kick in their minds, they're starting to get a little bit concerned about stuff. Does that make sense?
The multifamily jobs have been bought. Those jobs, the industry's jobs that have to be bought. Just because prices is relative compared to where we've been, for something to happen, buying at $50 cheaper the evaluation, but there's a lot of pent-up demand for orders that have been in place that haven't been for cancellations. But I is basically flush where it is right. We're just going to respond to over the next. We'll be responding to that.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to pull up, Matt, and it was you sent it over. I want to pull up your scouting report. So and you're still breaking up a little bit. I'll try and interpret, but I think it's important. I want people to see the scouting report that you're doing because this is great for a lot of reasons. One, you're going to go out and start giving a way for people to look at the key market items in the key market areas through uh, through scouts, people that you have in the mix every day, know what things are buying and selling at, so you can give the key market and the key items and the key prices on a weekly basis, and that is something that you're going to offer people to look at, Matt. When they sign up to get for maybe you could explain that a little bit. So here's what the sheet looks like that we brought up, Matt, and it's going to show the different areas. You're going to have comments on the key items. So SPF Eastern Western, SPF Southern Yellow Pine, Hem Fir, Green Doug Fir, and then you're going to also have the key prices in the key areas. Number 2 SYP. 4-inch through 12-inch. Number 2 SPF Canadian, 4-inch through 12-inch. Dry Hemfer. And here's the real another great one, since it doesn't really actively show anywhere, is the number 2 Euro SPF at the ports. And the reason why Matt can put one number at the ports is because for the most part, and Matt, hopefully you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, if lumber goes into Baltimore or goes into Houston, it gets dropped off at the same price. And from what I've seen, it pretty much trades at the same price. Why that's important to know, why that's important for you to know as a multifamily person, a home builder, and everything. If you don't know the dynamics of how lumber works, when lumber comes from British Columbia down to Houston, Texas, or if it goes from British Columbia down to Tampa, Florida, or British Columbia over to Baltimore, it has a completely different price for each one of those locations. So if you are comparing 2x4 16s coming from BC to those 3 locations, you want to know what the FOB euro is, because there's sometimes $100 spreads, and you want to know what the best location to buy or sell it at is also. And what Matt is offering here is the ability, which nobody else, arguably, Matt, I can say, has really ever showed that item anywhere else. Was that correct to assume?
Exactly right. And those differentials are the things that really matter. It's cut for 16-foot cut for, and there's usually going to say 9 weeks out of 10. Euros by the truckload, or at least 100 British Columbia or Canadian.
Yeah. So what Matt's saying there is, in Europe, the logs are bucked differently in the woods. They're cut differently. They cut a lot of stuff for 16-footers, right? So, that's why you see so many 2x12s, 2x8, 2x6, and 2x4 16s in European spruce over here all the time, right? And you don't see as many 14-footers, right? So, but occasionally you do see 14-footers in Euro. So what you want to look at as the key items that they produce in Europe at the different ports relative to what those are coming out of Western Canada and out of Eastern Canada. Because if you have that formula in front of you, you can see overvalued, undervalued, and actual like for like items, which is really important, and it can help you make decisions when you're looking to either buy something or sell something. So, like I said, this report is going to be really important going out when Matt shows that. And if you wanted to contact Matt today at Layman's Lumber Guide, we'll throw up that I believe, Matt, you could then send them over one of these live scouting reports. Would that make sense?
Actually, I sent you another copy for this week. Looks like.
Is it okay? Can we show that? Oh, was it okay to show that? Okay, yeah. Let's bring that up and show that. Thanks. Joy was just asking me, and she'll look for that and find that. But I know Matt's sound is breaking up a little bit, but I just wanted to let everybody know that as a consumer of information, this is really important for anybody in the lumber industry that buys or sells to have. One, because it's a different way to look at stuff. It has items that aren't being reported by any of the other services. And 3, it's just good to have more information, right? And Matt's spent a long time working with his team and gathering information to get people out there to bring that to us. So as soon as Jory brings that up, I'll take a look at that with you, Matt. And again, apologize, Matt, and I'll test this with Matt next week. I'm sorry about that, Matt. I should have tested it with you today. I didn't mean for that to sound like that.
It very well could be the computer.
No worries. So Jory just said she showed what you sent us. That's the one. That's the first one you sent us, Matt.
I meant to say. Let's just
okay. Hey, well, look at
computer squared away better
this is
for next week.
This is a great opportunity. If you want to see the completed survey that Matt actually has this week, which I want to see, right? I want to kind of see what the European is trading at. You can actually Jory just threw up Matt's laymansguide.com/scouting report. Contact Matt and his team, and he'll get that to you. So you can see in real time what Matt's doing and the numbers that he's providing, which I think is a great service and a great value for everybody. And I think it's something that when I talk to people in the industry, I don't hear people tell me I want less information. Everybody wants more information, right? I mean,
yeah, and this one is
yeah, it's different, right? It's different. It shows a different look at stuff. And you know, from the last companies I came back from, we couldn't get enough information information to download and look at. So again, everybody, no matter if you're on the buy side or the sell side in lumber, you should contact laymansguide.com and ask for that scouting report and get together with Matt. Now, Matt also has another, Matt, you sent me over, you have another group starting next week. Does that make sense?
That's a reunion from the pre.
Right on. Okay, well, I appreciate you inviting me to that. I wasn't sure exactly what that was. I called you. I was gonna talk to you about that, but yeah. As with anything, when you join Matt's team and Layman's Guide, it's a cool thing because you get invited to all the different groups and fraternities that they have to talk about things. I don't know. Can we say fraternity still, Matt, or we got to say fraternity and sorority now? I don't even know how that goes.
Yeah.
So, and it's,
yeah.
I've been on a bunch of those, and the information that comes out of them is pretty free form and amazing and pretty wide open. You hear stuff happening all over North America you wouldn't hear if you talk to 50 different people over a 3 or 4 week period, and you get that all in 1 hour. Those are some of the things that Matt provides with his whole service, from his reports to his events that he holds with his I should say members or the people that are part of his program.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, everybody. I appreciate it, Matt. I'm sorry for the audio today, but I think we got our point across. Make sure you contact Matt at laymansguide.com. Ask him for the scouting report that's actually filled out for this week. I think that's a good incentive to take a look at. And Matt and I will look forward to next Thursday and getting the sound down, and we'll be ready to roll again.
Deal.
All right, everybody.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.